I'm really looking forward to this year's Gala. We start with a piece by Esa-Pekka Salonen called Helix. Esa-Pekka Salonen is a famous Finnish composer and conductor, but you probably know him more as a conductor. He was the music director of the Los Angeles Philharmonic for a long time, and now of the Philharmonia in London. But he began his career as a composer who only conducted to help his own music in performance. He studied in Helsinki at the Helsinki Academy, and he still has a great career as a composer. He's currently the resident composer at the New York Philharmonic. I've assisted him as a conductor in LA with the New York Phil, and also played and recorded his music. He wrote this piece, Helix, as an overture in 2005 for Valeri Gergiev and the Orchestra of World Peace. Esa-Pekka says about the piece, the process of Helix is basically that of a 9-minute accelerando. The tempo gets faster, but the note values of the phrases become correspondingly longer. Therefore, only the material's relation to the pulse changes, not necessarily the impression of speed itself, hence the spiral metaphor. The material, which consists of 2 different phrases, is being pushed through constantly narrowing concentric circles until the music reaches a point where it has to stop because it has nowhere to go. The musical expression changes quite drastically in the course of these 9 minutes, which begin with an idyllic, almost pastoral opening phrase for piccolo and contrabassoon, which then returns much later in the horns and trumpets fortissimo, surrounded by a really busy tutti orchestra. And the closing section shows this material in an almost manic light. How would you describe Esa-Pekka's music? Well, it's very often tonal. The harmony sounds like music that we know. It's always glittering, has a shiny surface, like looking at Los Angeles at night. And it's brilliantly orchestrated with strong colors in the orchestra and muscular, powerful gestures. There's also an emphasis on texture and harmonic color rather than on melody, and we can always hear the influence of Stravinsky, Debussy, Bartók, and Sibelius never far away. I chose this piece because you'll enjoy it on a first hearing, and it's a spectacularly exciting opening to our gala. So from one Finn to the father of Finnish music, Jean Sibelius. Next is Sibelius's Karelia suite, 3 pieces from 1893. Sibelius was central to the rising tide of nationalism that swept Finland in the last decade of the 19th century and the first of the 20th. Finland was still a territory of Russia, and Russia had attempted a process of Russification to stamp out nationalism that was bitterly resented. If you've ever talked to a Finn, you know that they're intensely nationalistic people. In 1893, there was a grand historical pageant at Helsinki University, and it was a thinly veiled protest against this Russification process, particularly in Karelia, Finland's easternmost and hence closest to Russia province. Sibelius wrote pieces to accompany this pageant that were so successful and popular that he made them into a suite. We're going to hear 3 of those movements. This is highly pictorial music. It's meant to conjure up images. The first movement is called Intermezzo, and we can imagine a sleigh ride through a Finnish forest with great excitement. We can also hear Sibelius's debt to Bruckner in the atmospheric opening string tremolando that sets up the excitement and anticipation in the music. The second movement is a ballade. We can imagine an overcast northern landscape. There's a sense of being trapped inside the music. It's a similar feeling to that which happens in Sibelius's second symphony, the second movement. And that idea of being trapped is a musical metaphor that would not have been lost on the Finnish audience at that time. The last movement, Alla Marcha, depicts an historic Finnish victory at the castle of Kakisalmi. It's very joyful and happy music. And finally, the highlight of the evening as we welcome renowned virtuoso violinist Joshua Bell. Cited as the greatest American violinist active today, Joshua Bell's impassioned, committed performances have won him accolades around the world. He'll be joining us for Tchaikovsky's beloved violin concerto, which he recorded to great acclaim in 2005 with the Cleveland Orchestra. The Tchaikovsky concerto is unusual since the solo violin begins to play almost immediately with a ruminating theme before blossoming into one of Tchaikovsky's most beautiful, tender melodies. The second movement starts with a dark Slavic song before the crackerjack finale thrills us with its great speed. This part was originally deemed unplayable by the Viennese critic Hanslick, so it'll be very exciting to see it realized with such mastery in Jacobi Hall. So please join us for the highlight of the season as we welcome Joshua Bell to play the Tchaikovsky, the perfect concerto, allowing him to demonstrate his famously singing tone and dazzling virtuosity.